If you cannot master your own body and your own thoughts, you won't be able to master your business and get where you want to be. I was pretty complacent. I was waking up pretty tired, not going to the gym. I didn't enjoy looking myself in the mirror as well. The blood test you actually gave me was pretty detailed, and I understood that I had like shit tons of allergies. Just removing these things from my diet made me feel way better after 2 weeks. Now going to the gym is kind of like having a shower. Now I'm happy to say that, I can have like a better quality of sleep. We were 150k cash collected every single month on average. Today we finished October at 235k cash collected.
Dank.
My man, what's up?
Nice to have you here, man. Nice
Thank
to have
you
you here again. So, 5 months ago, we started working together, right? And we filmed this video here on the screen. But for the people that probably don't know you, can you elaborate a bit more on what you do with your company, your online stuff? What do you do?
Of course, yeah. So, hey guys, so my name is Vedank Mohan. I'm 34 years old. I have an online agency, online marketing agency in the French market. We help online coaches and agencies to actually, get more clients. We help them with the marketing acquisition process and the sales process as well. And yeah, we have 2 branches, one here in Dubai and one in Belgium, serving the French market. Pretty great team, 40 team members. And we have generated more than $65 million for our clients in 2 years.
Cool. So I want you to tell me about Vedank 1.0, the version of you when we filmed the video, right? Why did you end up choosing to do this at the time?
Yeah. So 5 months ago, I was pretty complacent because I was making, let's say, okay money, and I had like an easy life somehow. So it was easy for me to procrastinate or just like over delegate or, just turn on my computer to, do things that will require minimum friction. For instance, giving instructions to team members, check WhatsApp, check Slack. But I wasn't doing any deep work. I wasn't working on some big projects that were moving the company forward, if that makes sense, right? So, and I was basically stuck in this position where, I was waking up pretty tired, not a lot of energy, I would randomly, open my computer, jump on Slack, WhatsApp, go on social media, check things here and there. And my day was just talking with people, just managing. So I was basically like in stagnation mode. Not going to the gym, not waking up at the same time, a lot of things, and I was pretty tired, very low energy. I would say that, I didn't enjoy looking myself in the mirror as well. And obviously it can also impact your self-confidence at some point. Yeah.
Cool. And in terms of business, how is that affecting the business side of things? Like since you're the head of the business and you have to make the decisions, manage the people, how is that affecting the company?
So you mean how it was affecting the company back then, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that we were just stagnating, obviously what was happening is that we were basically in autopilot mode. And whenever, like issue were arising, I wasn't really looking at them. I was just throwing people, VAs or team members at them without even guiding them. And then, whenever the revenue will go down, like below 100K, I was at scarce and I would just do a launch or whatever to just collect cash. So very short term, and we were just stuck in a position where, as I wasn't working on the right things, because I didn't want to do the hard things that will move the needle forward, everyone was stuck, let's say, there were no clear vision, no ambition, it was kind of like, pretty flat, I would say.
And why did you end up choosing to work with me?
So I saw your content, I was actually following you because you sent me like a message, I believe like 2 years ago. So I just like, hey, the content looks cool, let me just subscribe. So I was in your funnel like for more than 2 years, just scrolling and watching your content. And then at some point I was like feeling, super tired because, my life was really like waking up randomly or not at a specific timing. Yeah, just opening my laptop, then that's it, just close the laptop, go to a restaurant, have shisha, and then, go back at home like 1 a.m., then wake up again at 9 or something. And I wasn't even spending, my free time with my son because I was keeping myself busy with random things. So I was like, hey, there is like a problem here because if I keep doing this, I was literally working like, 10 to 12 hours a day, just managing stuff, right? But eventually, if I would just remove myself from the business for 1 2 days, things will collapse. And I just wanted to, I kind of like felt like there was something wrong with me. I was like, hey, maybe I'm not doing the things that will move the needle forward because I don't have the energy or the focus or the mental clarity to actually understand how I can unstuck myself for this position. And then I was like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. Maybe there is something that is messed up or not right, in my chemicals or in my body, or it's coming from there, and yeah, I just decided to book a call with you, and yeah, so that's the first step I took. Yeah.
So we got on a call. We kind of analyzed the situation, and we decided to work together. So what can you explain? What did we do?
Yeah.
Like, how was working together? What did we kind of help you do?
Yeah. So very interesting. So on the call, obviously the main pain point I had was, exactly what I said here. So lack of mental clarity, no energy, no focus. And I was like, hey, I believe that if I can actually get more more energy, first of all, right, it will help me to, get to tackle the hard things, right? And then if I can get more focus, I have the biggest leverage possible on the things that will matter the most in my business, right? And so very interesting because you guys did like a full analysis of my profile first, because I went through some, other things like, let's say 75 hard, you might know about this, right? But like those things are not sustainable like long term, right? I was transparent. I was like, hey, so these are my days right now. I have a son. I enjoy like going out. I enjoy my weekends. At the same time, I want to move my business forward. So I understand there will be some sacrifice. And you basically like just listed down like my profile, what I was doing, also what I was eating, and we started with the blood test. Very interesting, to actually analyze what I was giving as a fuel to my body and how my body was reacting to this. So yeah, the onboarding was super smooth, understanding that, we are going to improve my health, my sleep, and my diet and my focus overall. And we started by working on, the first thing we implemented is like getting me to the gym and like understanding my food habits and how we can optimize them, right? Which was like super, super powerful. Especially with this blood test, man. This one was amazing.
Why?
Because I wasn't aware, but so the blood test you actually gave me, especially the food intolerance one, was pretty detailed and in depth. And I understood that I had like shit tons of allergies, like gluten. I'm super allergic to gluten. Like I don't tolerate gluten very well. I don't tolerate lactose, nuts. I have the full list here, and basically just removing these things from my diet made me feel way better after 2 weeks, because I wasn't even noticing like how my body was reacting to this thing, but it was literally poison. I was bloated all the time, man. But like when you lived like with a bloated stomach, for instance, you're just used to it. You don't notice anymore. But then once you start having the flat belly, you don't go, let's say, to the bathroom every single hour. You're like, yeah, okay, now it makes sense, right? All right. So yeah, this was like basically the first and biggest win after 2 weeks, when I was like, wow, I actually forgot how it looks like to feel, like normal, let's say, because I was bloated all the time. So yeah, this was like super amazing. And obviously all the other things, like understanding like the T levels I have, understanding also like all the, composition of my blood and everything was pretty good.
Cool. And so after we got into the, the trenches and started dialing in sleep quality, started dialing in your overall daily routine and how to time everything properly for a good recovery, for you to wake up in the morning feeling good, to perform good at work. Obviously, we've been working together for 5 months now.
Yeah.
So what would you say are your top 3 major wins? obviously you told me about the bloating,
Yeah.
which is something that obviously if you remove the gluten and lactose, you're gonna stop feeling bloated. So this is pretty a quick win. But what would you say are the biggest kind of 3 wins?
The first thing I would say is like, I wasn't going to the gym before, you know, and since I joined the program, I maybe missed like 1 day or 2, you know, in a 5-month time period, which is amazing because I didn't want to go to the gym before, right? Now, like going to the gym is kind of like having a shower, and I underestimated the impact of, you know, just being in better health, better shape, you know. So this is the first win, you know, waking up in the morning, and going to the gym, and obviously I transformed my body. I believe you're gonna have some picture maybe here or here, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like this is the biggest transformation because like actually it happened like in 4 months, you know. I like shrink down, and also like now I don't know how to explain this, but because I feel better in my body, I also feel more confident, and I also feel like, you know, I have more clarity because I have like I'm eating quality food. Because now I understand the impact of every single thing that goes into my body. And I understand that, okay, maybe if I want to, let's say, have a cheat meal, it can impact, you know, my sleep, my gut health, my focus the next day. And obviously, you know, if I'm not able to perform, it will cost me money, right? So this is like the education I had around this was amazing. Second thing is also the importance of sleep, you know, and the wind down routine, for instance. So obviously, there are a lot of things that I actually heard here and there, you know, from Huberman and this and that, but I didn't implement them because it's quite complex. And you guys simplified everything, and also we took baby steps, you know, to make sure I feel comfortable and I can adjust this like in my lifestyle. Now I'm happy to say that, you know, I can have like a better quality of sleep, but also still enjoy, you know, my time with my son, my wife, which is pretty decent because obviously there is always sacrifice. And this was also like a very, very big win. Now, the next thing I would say is obviously we're going to talk about that, but the impact it has on my business right now.
Yeah, so talk to me about that. That's juicy.
So it's funny because, you know, when I was like Vedank 1.0, right, I was always trying to avoid the pain. Because what I mean by that is, for instance, you know, we are in my agency, we are pretty decent in acquisition. We don't have any problem getting calls booked in. We don't have any problem, you know, to sell our services. Obviously, because I'm a marketer and I'm a salesperson as well. But I knew that, you know, the fulfillment wasn't at the best place. And I was like, I don't know how to tackle this part. I don't know how to create SOPs. I don't know how to structure, you know, like the delivery part of my agency, for instance. Because what we're doing is basically like we take content creators who don't have an offer at all, and we just create an offer for them, you know, from A to Z, and we launch it, and then we keep them on retainer, right? But my team wasn't trained, and attacking this thing was a very, very, very big piece, like very, very heavy lifting work, you know, like something that is like, I mean, it's giant, you know. And I was always avoiding this thing. I was always pushing it back. And then actually once I actually understood, very interesting because like, see, my body didn't change in 1 month, right? It took 4 months to change. So I was like, okay, so it makes sense when you do something on a regular basis every single day, you have a compounding effect over time, right? Because right now, as I said, for instance, we were having this chat like just right here. I was like, hey, I'm eating more, but my weight like is still the same, which is insane, right? Because sometimes I cheat, let's be honest, you know, and like I'm not getting weight because you're gonna talk about this, right? But there is this thing where you optimize my metabolism as well. And I was like, okay, so this is the compounding efforts of whatever we have done together. And then I decided to basically implement and approach this big piece in my business I didn't want to attack in the same way. So I just started like slowly, step by step, and now it's compounding, and now we are in a way better position than before, you know.
So I guess in terms of numbers, right, inputs and outputs, where were you in the beginning of starting to work together in terms of revenue?
Yeah, we were, let's say, in 150K cash collected every single month in average, but stagnating, you know.
And what about today?
So today we just relaunched the acquisition and we like finished October right now at 235K cash collected.
Okay, so it's a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
And what's the goal moving forward?
So now, obviously, this was just the MVP of like all the fulfillment part we have done. So the goal right now, we just want to finish like Q4 and everything. So I just want to see like and optimize all my process, you know. So I'm going to keep this baseline maybe 250, something like that. In 2025, the goal is to hit 8 million in cash collected, right? Within 12 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So let's go back to the performance optimization side of things.
Yeah.
Right. I guess after having the first call together, again, completely different person, but what were you skeptical about in the, I guess, after we had the first call or before joining, let's say, what were you skeptical about before joining?
So by the way, I'm used to buy things online, right? So I'm pretty educated. So about these things. So when I jump on a call, I already had the card ready, you know?
So you're pretty easy client to sign.
Yeah, but I'm not easy to get on a call, right? So it's kind of like when I jump on a call, I already know there's already a high buying intention, right? Because I'm used to buy things I buy. I bought like Alex Hormozy 55K mastermind easily and all these things because I just want to invest in myself and grow, right? But getting me on a call is quite difficult. Now, how you got me on the call, and I was skeptical about, you know, jumping on a call and taking on a call because I was like, all right, all these concepts, you know, because obviously you were talking in your content about several things like T levels and how it can impact your decision making process. Like, you know, how important it is to actually, you know, get good recovery and good sleep. And I was like, all right, but at the same time, I have like shit tons of example of people not making all this, like living like a crazy lifestyle here in Dubai and still making shit tons of money. So I was like, this is all BS. I don't want to get into it, right? But then, you know, I actually understood one thing because I had a chat with a guy. The guy is like, I will not tell his name, but you can, I mean, in the French market, it's quite small, so you can find. He's a bit like oversized, you know. He wakes up at like 12. He works like 3 hours a day, and he's making like shit tons of money. And I just had a conversation with him, and I understood that he had to work super hard to get there. You know, it wasn't always like this. Now he just had the compounding efforts, you know, and of whatever he has done. And then I was like, all right, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to, you know, just actually understand how I can actually operate better because I need to put like the reps in and do the heavy lifting now, you know, because it's not going to happen like this. And then I started to get more and more interested, you know, and I actually saw your case studies, some good testimonials. And I was like, all right, this guy looks serious. Let's jump on a call. You seem like pretty knowledgeable, you know. And I was like, okay, let me book that in, right?
Yeah, that's interesting to talk about. I'm gonna ask you a question in regard to the situation with a guy and similar other guys.
Yeah.
That live a similar lifestyle and make good money without really optimizing or paying attention to health variables. But let's say, I'm curious to hear, what was your number one favorite thing about working together?
I would say definitely having someone to talk with on a daily basis, you know, and the commitment as well, you know, because you guys kept me accountable. I mean, obviously, there's also an investment that needs to be done from the client side, which means me, like showing up, doing the things, being serious about this, you know, like not lying, following the systems and everything. But you guys kept me accountable because you understood where I wanted to go. And it was always like, whenever I was, you know, somehow messing up, right? You just kept me on track because you understood my vision and what I wanted to achieve and how important it is for me to actually do the thing right now, you know? So you just like basically reframed everything. And I was like, okay, it makes sense. I have to get it done, right? Yeah, so this is the most, like, let's say the thing I love the most, having like the accountability and having someone to talk with, you know, on a daily basis. The second thing is also explaining the benefits of every single protocol we implemented, you know? Because for instance, if you told me, hey, you just take a cold shower, I would be like, no, that sucks. I'll not do it. You know, why would I do that? Right? But then when you actually explain me the effects on the dopamine management, on the mood, on the stress management, and all of that things, I was like, all right, makes sense. Same thing, for instance, for, let's say, I mean, I will not go into details, but let's say, for instance, the HRV breathing, right? Just to reset and get some clarity and manage your stress. Helped me a lot. Because if you just told me, hey, you just have to do this thing, I would be like, why? I'll just lose like 5 minutes a day. Why would I do that, right? But then when you actually understand that it compounds, I mean, I have plenty of tools I can use now whenever I have a different situation. Yeah.
So last question in regards to the what I kind of spoiled before. Let's say somebody makes 7 figures a month, multiple 6 figures a month, right? But lives a complete degenerate lifestyle here in Dubai, like wakes up at like random times, doesn't really care about health, but hey, he makes good money, he has fun, and he feels like he has to live his life, right? So what is your perspective on, I guess, your daily life, and why would somebody of that level would even think about doing like what we're doing right now, or something similar, like paying attention to their recovery, their sleep quality, their routines, their diet, their like the supplements, the productivity aspect of things. I guess what's your mindset on this? Because there are a lot of people here in Dubai, for example, that live like this. But yeah, I have jumped on calls with those people, and they're like, "Hey, I sleep like 5 hours a night. I smoke cigars, like I make whatever money a month, and I feel good. Why would I do this?" You know?
So I'd say it depends on how you see your life and business as well, right? But I'm coming from a very poor background, and the thing is, for me, nothing is like granted, exactly, right? The thing which is important is that these guys here in Dubai, for instance, some of them had made some really good investments, so they're safe, right? But shit can always happen, and when shit happens, there's no one but you that can actually save yourself, right? So I mean, you are the only person that can save yourself, right? For instance, I know a guy here in Dubai who has like a big real estate company, and one of the partner had to go back to India, and now guess what? The business is going to zero because the head operator has left, and now what? He has to manage, right? Like real estate sales rep, real estate agents, but he doesn't even know how, and like he will just have to go through whatever I'm going through right now, which is obviously like understanding everything and creating the right SOPs and stuff like that, right? So at some point you'll have to put in the effort again, right? Now, I believe that you need to be ready for every single situation in life. And the best way to be ready is actually to take care of, like this, your mind, and also this, your body. Because like issue arises, and you need to be prepared for whatever will happen in life, So of course there are some people that are safe. They have like, hundreds of millions on bank account here. They have like properties, they have like crypto, whatever you want. So they'll be like, why would I actually do this? Because it's really hard to go down to zero, right? But this is maybe like 1% of the people right now. And I really believe that if you want to protect yourself and your assets, you have to go through this, right? Because if let's say you're living, on an extreme, like you're living your life like a prince, right? Then why would you not like extend your, like your lifetime value or span, or I don't know how you call that, but lifespan, exactly, by actually taking care of yourself. Now, on the other hand, for the scenario I actually just spoke about, let's say if things goes like, bad, and you just have to, let's say worst case scenario, go down in the trenches, you want to be ready as well, because it can happen, right? And how I see things out as well, it also depends on your mindset, but why would you actually stop at a certain level where you can actually just optimize a couple of things and push more and push forward? Does that make sense? Yeah.
I think it's like it differs for a lot of people. Yeah. And it's mainly based on somebody's goal. Like, for example, we mainly work with people to help them perform better in the business. But a lot of the things we take care of, like, for example, you lost like 8 kilograms of fat. Yeah. Like you can see it from your face. Yeah. Maybe we can put up some pictures in the screen. Yeah. This has improved your health overall, your mood, your stress management, So it doesn't only affect the business, which it does
Yeah.
directly, but it also affects your quality of life.
Yeah.
So even if you don't work like 12 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
which there are periods in which you need to build that leverage, so you need to do the reps, you're in the trenches.
Yeah.
But even if you work 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day, it's still important to, I guess for some people, that's what we do. It's still important to be able to, you know, look good, have energy,
Yeah.
feel good, be able to be, because you're getting paid at some point, you're getting paid to make important decisions.
Yeah.
And the quality of your decisions, the way that you think, feel, act, is determined by your mental, your emotional state. It's a different state when you're overweight, you have health problems, your sleep is poor, and you're stressed out. And it's very different when you're dialed in terms of your recovery, you're always in a good mood, you're able to perform under chaos, you're able to you're sharp.
Yeah.
You have high testosterone, for example. It's a completely different thing. I guess those are the people that, and you, for example, that we work with, because those are the people that pay attention to those variables. So what would you say to somebody who is potentially watching this clip or video, who is on the fence, who has considered potentially doing this, joining the program? What would you say to them if they're on the fence, for example?
So I would say that if you're not where you want to be right now, it's probably because you don't take the right actions or you're not working on the right things, right? Now, most of the time, this comes from, either a lack of knowledge, a lack of experience, or, a lack of consistency, right? But if you actually just unzoom and have a look at these three things I just said, you need to be actually ready to learn more, to focus, ready to dive into hard things. And most of the people are trying to avoid this because it sucks, And I believe that going through this process will make you understand how important it is to actually commit yourself to something which is changing your body, your energy levels and your state of mind. Because let's be honest, if you cannot master your own body and your own thoughts, you won't be able to master your business and get where you want to be. That's how I see things, at least. So for me, my challenge was, okay, if I'm not able to transform my body, right? If I'm not disciplined enough, if I don't wake up at the same time, if I don't do all these things, if I don't eat properly, then how will I be able to generate, let's say, 8 million of revenue next year, right? Because if I cannot manage myself at the first place. So for me, it's mostly like, in the business, there's a lot of variables you cannot control. I mean, there is a lot of tweaks you can do, of course, when the situation arises, but you can fully control your body, right? And your willpower, right? And that's how I saw things. I've been in touch with the biggest marketers in the US. And one thing I have noticed, by the way, is that they all take care of their health, So this was also a trigger point for me. I didn't mention it, but, I was like, okay, so if these dudes are doing honestly, right now, they're not doing every single protocols, because they had they're getting the benefits from their efforts, but they still do these things, like Rudy Maurer, for instance, like Dan Henry, they treat, even Alex Ramosi, they treat weekends as weekdays, They wake up and they sleep and they wake up at the same time, right? Which shows how important it is, for instance, to just, get this routine and wake up sharp, because they understand the value of time and they understand that if they mess up, it's going to be hard for them to operate on the next day, for instance, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
But yeah, I have a couple of questions for you, man.
Let's go.
So from your point of view, from what you have seen by working with multiple clients, what's the biggest challenge people are facing when they actually join your program?
I would say the biggest challenge would be definitely related to sleep, because it's easy to change your diet, right? It's easy to eat certain foods that boost your testosterone. It's easy to take the pills, the supplements. It's easy to go to the gym, right? Because you do something, but it's not very easy to actually do the things that, for example, going to bed at the same time or waking up at the same time. And the other, the biggest variable that contributes to this is that people focus on the what instead of the who. So it's not about what you do. Let's say we work together for the first 90 days. you have to do some things. Like we're going to analyze your situation. We're going to find out that those are this is the best way to structure your daily life. Those are the foods that you need to eat to operate at your maximum potential the next day. It's simple. It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
But people that usually struggle with this long term are the people who focus on the what instead of the who. And what I mean by that is that if you really want to make a difference and really want to be able to do this long term and not do something for like 3 months and then go back to your old habits or your old baseline, then you really need to focus on not what do I need to do to perform better, but who do I need to become to perform better. Because, for example, Vedunk 1.0, before we're starting to work together, for example, you tried the 75 hard thing. I think you mentioned a couple of things in terms of your, you had the ordering, for example, you were on different diets, but you focus on what to do. You didn't focus on who do I need to become to go from Vedunk 1.0 to 2.0. Because right now, you are the person that is able to do the 8 million in 2025, next year, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that this is the case is because you need to focus on who do I need to become in order to get there, right? Who do I need to become? And the person that you need to become, you just need to change who you are, essentially. So that is if you really want to make a difference, because what we're doing is the main goal is to help you operate at your best. But I don't think anyone wants to just do that for 3 months.
Yeah.
So, and the reason that this would fail is because you don't change who you are. You can get the insane results in 3 months, but if you don't change, if you don't focus on the who, then after 3 months, you'll go back to your old habits.
Makes sense. Yeah. And so my follow-up question is, let's say someone is pretty busy, working, 10 to 12 hours a day, not going to the gym, not sleeping very well. It's kind of like the old me, let's say, I believe it's the same situation for a lot of people here.
Yeah.
What would be if there is one thing they have to implement and fix, the biggest lever, what would that be?
So let me unpack this question. You are going to be eating, you are going to be sleeping anyways, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'm working 10 to 12 hours a day and I'm able to still go to bed and wake up at the same time, eat the food that I should be eating. You can do this by private chefs. If you have a lot of money, you can hire a private chef. You have somebody to outsource the diet and you're good. And just do some form of movement. Like, for example, what you have right now is a walking pad below your desk. So even if you're not going to the gym, you're still getting some form of exercise. So I think, of course, if you were to boil it down to one thing that somebody could do that would change everything, would be exercise. Because exercise is the single most important thing, is the single best thing that will improve your health, will improve every one of your health markers. Like if you go and do your blood work, it will improve everything. It's the only thing that can do that without even changing what you eat or without even changing your sleep. So if there's only one thing you have to do, exercise. But that being said, you are going to be eating, you are going to be sleeping, you are going to be moving in some way. So I think the approach you should have here is, how do I make sure to do those things that I'm already doing, just with the right data and the right structure?
Makes sense. I have another question for you. I see a lot of people that are let's say making 500 grand a month, 600 grand a month, that are kind of operating in a way where they don't really have any focus time. They kind of wake up, they try to do something, then they get pulled into something else, and then they basically just switch from one thing to another and they don't achieve anything, right? And I'm like, wow, just imagine if these guys had the focus we are having right now, how far would they would be, right? So my question for you is what is the number one thing someone that is in this situation where he's actually jumping from one task to another, what's the main thing he has to implement, to actually just understand the importance of time and the input he's actually giving to his business?
I think there are so many moving pieces of the puzzle here.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing is that it's super important to structure your work around your circadian clock. which means when you wake up, the first 8 hours are going to be your most alert. You're going to be at your most energized, your most productive if your circadian clock is working properly.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make logistical sense for you to start your workday and spend that limited energy you have into replying messages, managing people. Of course, Alex Ramosi talks about this a lot, the manager days and the creator days.
Yeah.
So if your work is mainly composed of making like smart decisions and writing copy and like doing the high level stuff, the high ROI activities, it makes a lot of sense to start your day, block like 4 hours and focus on the money, like the needle moving tasks, because then you will squeeze out the most of your brain juices at the highest ROI things. And then this is what we implement together as well. This is what we mainly implement with a lot of people, with a lot of entrepreneurs. First 8 hours, ideally, deep work.
Yeah.
4 hours blocked. After that point on, you can then start answering messages and go to admin work or calls or whatever that is. So I think most people don't really value how important spending your brain juice, your high alertness, high energy, high focus hours on the deep work is. And instead they're just on this ADHD type of brain, monkey brain, like doing everything all at once, which results in what would otherwise be 4 hours of work being 10 hours of work. Because then if you start doing your important tasks when you're more tired, it's going to take longer. You're going to be more sloppy. You're not going to be as efficient.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. All right. I believe we're good.
Cool, man. So thanks for coming in here today.
Yeah. My pleasure, man.
And hope you guys like this podcast. We're going to do another one in another 5 months or so and see the
progress,
the gains, the muscle gains, the business gains, and the focus gains.
Let's go.
So I'll keep you posted.
Bye.